have here a very handy multi-function little clamp thing. Now I use this one a lot for deburring small parts, for example, or to clamp my soldering iron, works really well, and for lots and lots of other small things. I made this thing when I was in school. There's just a few little problems. The thing is never been finished. That's why this jaw always moves on me. The little clamping system was never put in place. These two little studs here, they always bind up, and if you tighten a bit too much they bend. Normally there should be a screw in here that pushes on the moving jaw to keep them parallel. Which means the basic idea of this thing is brilliant, but it doesn't work. So the best thing to do should be to fix it. But I don't want to change my personal history. This thing is gonna stay exactly as it is. So let's build a new one. After a bit digging around over here, I found some stuff I think I can use. These two little studs I could make out of 10mm round black bar. I have here a nice piece of threaded rod. The two base plates, this one and this one, out of this 10mm steel. Of course I don't have this C or U or whatever you want to call it, but I think I can make one, cutting two pieces of this and then weld them together. I think this is a very nice little project to do for someone, for example, that just started in machining. The dimensions are not critical, with some dimensions a little bit, but most are not critical, and you make something and you can really use it. I think here maybe model makers or whatever, if you have small parts, that thing is really handy. I heard that most projects start on a bandsaw, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. Touching here. I need a bigger machine. Now what? Here we go. I think this looks really professional. Well, my two little blanks are cut out and ready to go, and I still have all my fingers, so I think it's a really good start. Now, choose your machine. I knew it. No problem. Right, let's do this. I will install both parts at the same time. So in one cut we can do two things. A bit of protection, belt sander, band sand, but you know what I mean. to cut the big surface, of course, it's not really possible to put them both in the vise because there's not enough stroke length to do both at the same time. But no problem, I'm not in a hurry. The four sides of both parts are finished, and if I want to do this little top side here and then the other one in the shaper, I have to put it this way in the shaper and feed down by hand. There's no automatic down feed on this machine. I don't like to do that. But if I install it here in the middle with the vise swiveled at 90 degrees, put my parts here, then I can use the automatic feed of the X-axis. It's just that I have to be a little bit careful because the Y-axis is completely at the end, cannot go further. I will clamp them together with a piece of paper between them. Come on, paper. That's good. Yes. Oh. What? Getting tired. That feels good. Without moving the parts, I used of course the finished surface on this side to locate the holes I'm gonna drill. So far so good. Of course I couldn't drill this little hole and this little hole because the two parts were like this. I'm gonna drill the other one. That's not a good idea. Now to do these faces I will also do it in the milling machine. There's just one slight little problem. I wanted this to be 80 millimeters like the original one, and this face is not finished yet and I have already 80 millimeters. So I will make it a little bit too short, but if you don't tell, I suppose no one will know. The other one I have 1 millimeter over, so that will not be a problem. To make this 45-degree chamfer thing here, I set it up in the shaper. I think it's a nice little setup, fun to do. Because in the milling machine I don't have a good cutter to do this. I think this will be easier. Now, this is about 5 millimeters. My tool is set at more or less 45 degrees. It's not really important, and this is a very big cut for this small machine. So far so good. Well, I'm impressed. I never thought this little machine could make a large cut like this one. Well done, machine. To cut this little V here in the both jaws, we have different options. And I'm talking shaper, of course. Now on the milling machine we have also different options, but here we will do it on the shaper. I think the easiest way is to install the part at 45 degrees and come in here with the cutting tool like this, cutting from here to here or cutting down, and then finish the V-way in 2 movements. So first the bottom face and then the side face, or vise. You get a point. Option number the second is using a form tool. A bit like this, for example. Yeah. The problem is, my little shaper will not be very happy with this big cut. In the beginning, when you start the cut, no problem, because you cut 2 faces at the same time. That's lots of work. If you have a big shaper, no problem. This, easy peasy. And I even have a form tool at 90 degrees. Option number, I think number 3. Install the part 90 degrees and tilt the head at 45 degrees. And we come in as if we cut a right shoulder like this one, but at 45 degrees. So the cutting tool will come here. If we feed in that way at 45 degrees, we will need this side of the cutting tool also exactly at 45 degrees the other way, because this side will work as a form tool. I think it's really easy to understand. The other side won't cut much, but it will cut. Where it could create a little confusion is in the direction of the clapper box. I set the tool slide at 45 degrees and the clapper box as straight as possible. Again at 90 degrees with the workpiece. Because we need clearance on the backstroke on both surfaces. Yeah? If the clapper box should be in line with the tool head, this side will have clearance on the backstroke because the tool is lifting, and on this surface the tool will drag. So you have to find something in between. Let's cut. Good, these 2 parts are now finished, except this one I have to drill 2 holes in here to hold this hold down system thing, which is not built yet. I spent some time making some little bits and pieces here. These 2 will be the handles, this one, the 2 bolts. Now this is just a piece of threaded rod that I put in a little chunk here. Of course I could single point threading this, but I think this system is way simpler and everyone can do it, even if you don't have a lathe. Just drill, tap, no problem. These two little studs, as you can see, they have a different length, and there is a very good reason for this. That's because I made a mistake. Now this goes in here. I'm gonna take the short one for this one, and it even fits, so that's good. This comes here, and I will rivet them together. After a little bit of tweaking, I'm sure it will work. Now, let's start making this thing here out of this piece of rust. Some of you asked in the last video if it was possible to see the new fly cutter in action. Here it is, so no problem, here we go. To bring this other side to these two little parts here on dimension, or more or less, put it in the shaper way faster. To install the little base plate here on this screw thing, I cut 4 slots. Of course the inside is hollow, and I will use a little ball. It's on a blob of grease to prevent it from falling out. So let's see if it works. That should do it. Yes, success. And here's the thing completed. What's nice about this little project is that you can do it with whatever you want. If you find some kind of flat bar or something, you can make this. You don't need all these fancy machinings, but now I have fancy machines. But if you have a few files and a drill press, you can make this. There's lots of different operations to do, so I think it's a good one. I had a good time making this.